I'm Jamie. Actually, Jamie May, officially to the courts. And as Ray mentioned, we've been on many cruises. I think we've been 30.
My name is Carol Leslie, and I was born 63 years ago in Toronto, Canada. And I always told my mother that it was strictly an accident of birth because I really belonged in California with the climate.
Well, Betty was born in Los Angeles, Queen of Angels Hospital. I was born in Dallas, Texas, but my family came here when I was quite young.
Was born and raised in Riverside, came to San Jose State College for my education to become a drama teacher. Never taught, ended up as a social worker working with developmentally disabled for 30 years.
How long have we been together?
Well, we've been here for quite a while.
58 years, actually.
I am 70 goddamn 9, and I don't mind that.
I'm Clifford Chapman. My sign is Taurus, and I'm 75 years old. And let's see, what else do you want to know? I'm getting shorter as I get older, and my feet are getting longer.
I'm Barbara Strauss. I'm 61. I am born and raised in California. I am glad to be a native and don't want to live put anywhere else.
And I'm Don Scheidler. I'm only 69 years old, soon to be 70. My sign is, what is my sign? Gemini. And I'm not getting shorter, but I'm getting broader.
Who are you? Oh, I'm Cam Mitchell, and I'm supposed to do the same thing, I guess.
She doesn't know where she lands and where I begin, and it's good.
Born in San Diego, 1938,
All I knew was, for sure, is I was, for the first time, to the best of my ability to determine I must be in love.
By the time I fell in love, I had been married about 10 years. And I had 3 kids, and Darlene also had 3 children. And you had been married, by the time of the divorce, 10 years.
One thing we do on our cruises is collect items. There was one cruise where we collected mugs from each town we were in.
I was working for the FBI.
Yeah, the one thing I hope will come out is the fact that Cam was the first avowed lesbian to get custody of her kids.
Me passionate about trying to get everybody to take at least 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day, and her trying to get people to open their lotus-like consciousness to an awareness beyond themselves.
We've been together since August the 28th, 1964.
We rode motorcycles. Our husbands, and we started motorcycling with our husbands and ended up, they weren't available all the time, so we started motorcycling with each other. Together. And one day we went motorcycling at Santa Teresa Park and bumped helmets.
Anyway. Yeah.
And the rest was history.
Go one story.
In 1981, Jamie bought a new car.
We got in the car and headed south on Highway 1 and came to this sign, Los Osos, Baywood Park. And we said, let's take that.
So we threw a suitcase together, jumped in the car, and drove and got as far as San Luis Obispo.
We took it to Los Osos Valley Road, turned right, and went all the way to the end of Montaña de Oro Park and didn't see a single car or a person.
Everything was green and beautiful, and we said, we're going to retire here.
On the way back from the park, we came to what is Cabrillo Estates now, and there was a sign out, open house. And we decided to take a look at that, and the woman that was showing the house was very nice and showed us everything and gave us the price of $199,000. And we said, my God, we can't afford that.
I've always lived here. I was born and raised in Guadalupe, which happens to be Santa Barbara County, but it's right on the other side of the line. My family has lived in San Luis Obispo since 1830.
We moved here in 1972, and I was about 6 months before I could find a job.
We started coming back the next year, and 3 or 4 times in a row looking at property and trying to look at houses.
Finally, Darlene moved down here to San Luis, and we still tried to obey the court order, so we lived in houses next door to each other.
It's a beautiful place. It's halfway between San Francisco and LA, so people come here.
We were both renting over in Los Osos. We came to Los Osos first, in Baywood.
And so after I served in the United States Navy in Korea, I came back to Cal Poly to go to school and have stayed here ever since. And the reason that I stayed here partly was because I have been all over the world, but I like the atmosphere here.
We moved here 16 years ago and love it here now and wouldn't live anywhere else.
It was such a gorgeous place, you know, and we just wanted to get out of the city and to be someplace like this. So that's why we moved here. And we've never been sorry.
And after our 3rd time up, we said, this is silly. Let's sell the house we're living in Los Angeles, move into the Weekender, and start building the big house. So we did.
We had previously bought a house here in town, and it had been rented for 2 years to people, and we moved up. As soon as they moved out, we moved out.
Eventually, we just, when my ex-husband had been delinquent long enough, we just said, oh, screw this, and moved to Morro Bay and got a big house that moved in together.
When I moved back to San Luis Obispo, the population was about 8,000 people. Cal Poly still was not coeducational, and I think I was probably the only gay person in San Luis Obispo.
I would say it was about 75% were retired, but about 25% were still working in various jobs. Most of the people had come from out of the county. They had retired here. Men and women, actually. We met some really wonderful people very quickly. And
in fact, it was very interesting that one of the guys we had worked with, used to work at RAND Corporation and System Development Corporation it became, and that's where we met. And one of the guys who lives just on the hill up above it, he had worked there. So we were very surprised to find some of the people we'd worked with who had moved here.
I came up here in 1964 after meeting Clifford, and we got together, and then I was living in Orange County and couldn't transfer my job up to this county, and decided that I would forego the job in order to have Clifford. So I moved up here and went to Cal Poly. It was coeducational by that time, but only about 5,000 students. There were only about 1,500 in my graduating class. And I've been here ever since and wouldn't think of living anyplace else.